Hey guys, it's HarleyWood. Welcome back. So if you've been a fan of my channel, you've probably seen David from Dyer Armory. David, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
All right, I have an exciting giveaway for you guys today. I teased it in yesterday's video, so if you watched that video, you already know what it is. And the reason David is here is because he works in a profession that is relevant to what we're reviewing today. Yeah. David, tell him what you do.
Okay, so I'm a firefighter and EMT. I'm actually an advanced EMT. That's ALS, Advanced Life Support. So there's multiple levels to EMT, and a lot of people don't understand. When we get on scene, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, the paramedics are here," and or "Oh, the EMTs are here," and we just don't correct them.
Okay.
Listen, you're dying. I'm a paramedic.
So I don't even know the difference. What is the difference between a paramedic and an EMT?
So basically, you have first responder is the lowest level you can go. You're like CPR certified, and you can help out. Then you have an EMT. And then you have EMTI, which is kind of done away with, but there's still EMTIs in the field. An I stands for intermediate. Okay. And you have advanced EMT, which is what I am. And then above all, you have paramedic. Okay. So
now, what can a paramedic do that you typically wouldn't?
So paramedics is going to be drug related.
Gotcha.
So whenever we're running like a full cardiac arrest or something like that, a paramedic is going to be able to intubate them. Okay. So they can get an airway, establish an intubation and get an airway. They can administer drugs, cardiac drugs that we can't get. If somebody's having like dysrhythmias, they can like electrocute their heart back into rhythm.
But that's not you.
Like that.
But
that's not me. So I'm an advanced EMT, and I can push more drugs than a normal EMT can do, and I can just do other things that they can't do.
Now, you look about 13. How long you been doing this?
So I started, I applied, I got into Atlanta Fire Department in 2015.
Okay, so for a minute. Cool. If you had to guess, I know this is a hard one, how many scenes have you pulled up on where you've had to administer some sort of first aid or critical care?
Countless.
Yeah.
Countless. Our other engine, when I was like in Atlanta, I'm not in Atlanta anymore. I transferred to a smaller department north of Atlanta. But, we would easily run 4,000 to 5,000 calls a year.
So wait a minute, how do you play Call of Duty if you're running that many calls? I mean, because you're one of the top Call of Duty players.
Yeah, so I transferred, when I transferred to the smaller department, we have a little bit more time.
So my dad was a police officer, and I got to hear all of the banter between the different departments. All right, so we're looking at some stuff today from MyMedic. I had a video from MyMedic a long time ago. It was mostly just a kind of a bumps and boo-boos kit, and I was showing David before we even started this. I have scars on my hand. There's a good one. The lights are too bright. Yeah, I have scars on my hands, on the inside of my fingers, and it was almost always at deer camp. But I carry a medical kit with me all the time. In fact, in the truck, I have two medical kits. I have one in the bed of the truck that has like what I would consider as a civilian, kind of advanced trauma care. It's got chest seals and stuff like that. And then I had kind of a bumps and boo-boos, bandages and things like that in the back of the truck. What we're gonna go over today, in my mind, replaces both of them. And I like it because it is MOLLE compatible. It mounts up to the back of my Grayman seat system. So I know you actually have two in your vehicle out here.
We love Grayman.
Yeah. I rolled out Grayman videos, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and I know you've done some content with them. Yep. And I love the ease of putting something on the back of my seat. I cover it up, and then I just don't have to worry about it until I need it. All right, so this is the kit that we're actually gonna take a look at today. You can kind of see the size of it there, all right? And it's smaller than the one I have in the back of the truck, but it's probably 2.5 times the size of the one that I used to have in the truck. And it kind of encompasses all of the above. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna open this up, and I'm gonna let David take a look at some of the stuff that's inside. And we're just gonna kind of give you a real-time kind of thoughts on what this has in it and how it could help you, all right? Yep. Let me ask you another question. What do you think the average civilian should have on them at all times, be it in a vehicle? What are your thoughts?
So basically, whenever you start getting into civilian level emergency medical, you're really looking for, most people are buying these because they want the sexy gunshot wound.
Yeah, the chest seals and all that stuff.
They want the chest seals, they want the tourniquet, and that stuff can help. And I've used chest seals on car wrecks. I mean, it's any penetrating trauma to the chest. It really depends on what you're trained on. Okay. So, like using a chest seal or something is great to have in your kit, but if you're not trained and you don't know how to use it, then it does nothing.
So here's kind of my thought, and you're going to be doing some training coming up soon,
Correct.
right? So you guys, down in the description below, I'm going to put a link to their YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed. Here's kind of my thought on it. I have had the opportunity to use some of the stuff in my kit, not only on myself. I was telling you the story that I pulled up on a rollover accident, and the guy was physically okay. He wasn't, nothing was broken. He wasn't bleeding out, but he was obviously in shock. And I took the Mylar blanket out of one of my kits, and I was able to wrap him up. But here's kind of my thinking on it. I may not know yet how to use some of the stuff that's in this kit, but if you're driving by and I'm driving by and that accident happens and there is some sort of more advanced trauma, would it not be cool if I had something that you could leverage because you do have the appropriate training?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the good thing when you start getting med kits like that. There's a golden standard. Like cat tourniquets are golden standard, and everybody should have them. That's typically when you get into firearms and things like that, like the military's got stuff that we can't get. It's not really the case with medical, at least on a basic EMT level. Trauma is trauma, and stopping the bleeding is the most important part.
I think this one has a rat tourniquet in it, which I know some people like them, some people don't. But right above where this, did you just shake your head no?
Yeah.
Right above where this was mounted in the truck is a cat tourniquet mounted on the gray man thing. So I get it. And in fact, in the kit that's in the bed of the truck, I think I have 2 more cat tourniquets. So I have no shortage of those.
So my expectations opening this up, like having not seen anything and just looking at the size of it, one thing I like to differentiate is what's a comfort item and what's going to save your life item.
Okay.
And typically in a kit this size, whenever you start getting bigger, you're still going to have those 2 categories. You're just going to have more of each of those 2 categories. For instance, if you've got a smaller med kit, I saw you had some.
It's right here behind you. Yeah,
something like this. I'm expecting a tourniquet to be in here. On something like this, I'm expecting multiple tourniquets. So the procedure for stopping the bleed is going to be the same. But this one, you may have more options if there was a car wreck with 4 people in it. And you know what I'm saying? You may not be able to treat as many people with this kit as you can with this kit. So that's kind of what I'm expecting.
And the one that he just picked up is actually the giveaway. So stay tuned to the end of the video. Yeah, I've got some hookups for you guys lately. So this is actually a really cool giveaway that MyMedic has provided for you guys. So stay tuned to the end of the video. Let's get into this thing.
Cool, let's do it.
All right, guys, here we go. We've got it on the tabletop. David has not seen the inside of this pack, so he's going to open it up for you guys and just give you some initial first reactions.
Cool. So, well, before we open it up, let's talk about the outside. So, carry strap is super cool in case you need to move.
It's like fanny pack on steroids, dude.
Yeah, this is like
a shoulder strap. It's a shoulder strap.
There's some EMS nerds that would just nerd out over this stuff. It seems like really high quality. It's got really cool like rubber texturing non-slip in the back. You're setting it on something, it seems to kind of like hold and not like slide around. You've got plenty of MOLLE for other attachments if you want to attach an external tourniquet here. Plenty of Velcro for all your cool patches so you can look like a cool guy. All right. Here we go. All right, so this is cool. I like how it just opens up like this and you can kind of see everything.
So those 2 wings that you just flipped out there, I mean, how cool is even that, right?
Yeah. It's extra storage, and it kind of, the thing I like about this is that after it's out, you're not digging through a bag to find something. Everything is laid. Your eyes can find something exactly what you need.
Especially if you're familiar with it. Obviously, you're still digesting because you just opened it up. But what are some of the first items that jump out to you that you would foresee people needing on a,
Immediately, I jump to the tourniquets, the quick clot, and like the wound packing gauze, because if you're having to throw a tourniquet on, that's a right now situation, so it's good to have it. Now,
so it's good that it was right in the front, and in fact, it's at the top. So even if you only broke the top of the bag open, it was right there.
Yep, you can kind of just be like, oh, I know what I need. The bright red colors just scream trauma, which is great.
Oh, cool. See, this is cool because these are things that I wouldn't even think of because I don't do what you do.
Yeah. So
there's your rat tourniquets.
Rat tourniquet, not a fan of rat tourniquet. First thing
now, talk about why.
It's just not as intuitive as the cat tourniquet. You said you got a cat tourniquet. I'm going to be throwing a cat tourniquet in there. And honestly, I'm going to keep this in here as a backup tourniquet.
Of course.
It's just not my go-to.
Cool.
So I kind of like how this is laid out because just looking at this, I feel like I have a trauma section. And I'm not like, oh, I need compressed gauze and I'm coming over here and I'm doing stuff. I feel like trauma, you know? And then you kind of have like some comfort stuff here, and then you just have like wraps and extra stuff here.
Now, one thing you'll notice, and I'm going to talk more about this, but pull that pack out right there. The way that they handle this is much like my other medical kit is. There are these kind of vacuum sealed packs, and you can see all of the contents that are inside each one of these. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons that I like that is when I told you the story, I got stung on the hand by a wasp in the middle of the night, again, at deer camp for some reason. And
one time at deer camp?
Yeah, this one time at deer camp. I had to go out to my truck, and I was able to find, obviously it wasn't this kit, but in my other kit, it was very much like this, and I was able to find my burns, I think it was burns and stings pack, and I was able to find the sting gel, stuff like that, and then anti-inflammatories. So I like the fact that the kit has these kind of pre-done packs. And also, here's the other nice thing. If you use several of the pieces in here, you can buy just this piece again from MyMedic. Cool. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's pretty neat. That's just really good foresight on the company's end. So what I'm seeing here right now is like, again, why are you buying your medical kit? You know, what are you planning on using it for? Are you buying something and you have multiple family members, or are you buying something for you? This section right here is probably what this is.
Yep.
A lot of these smaller kits is just like, this is just what you need. And again, we're starting to get into some more comfort items here. Like, and people on the camera may not see this, but you know, you've got antibiotics, lip balm, sunscreen. These things are nice to have, but not like, you're not going to save your life. You know, you've got some saline right here. I'm assuming this is normal saline. It says super wash solution. I'm assuming it's just normal saline.
So to wash out cuts or your eyes, maybe?
I like the first thing I think of, like a really practical thing, is an eye wash that you get, especially if you're out on the range training or something like that.
Okay.
Eye wash can be super handy and honestly could keep you in the fight, because if you can't see, you're having big problems there. So as far as the trauma stuff, I mean, again, this is the sexy stuff, so let's just go through this. We've got bleed control dressing. This is just, Quick Clot is kind of the name of the game when it comes to this stuff. It's really good. It definitely works.
Now that's not for a mild cut, right? That's for a significant cut that you're having trouble stopping the bleeding.
Yes, and stuff like this is really good for. I've had like suicide patients, and you know they cut this way for attention, they cut this way for results. And so when you have a severe arterial bleed and it's coming out and direct pressure is not doing it, you can't do anything. Shoving some Quick Clot in there and stuff, it can save their life. Cool. So you've got a pressure bandage. This is basically an Israeli bandage. There's plenty of information on the internet about Israeli bandages. This kind of looks like just their version of it. It stretches around. It does pressure, keeps pressure on the wound, and this is good in case you have to move. Okay. Speaking of movement, I actually meant to touch on this. I had a scene where it was a car wreck, and this lady her arms were spaghetti. I mean, it was just messed up. We lay the patient down. We're working on her. And the car is next to her, and I notice fluids are dripping from the car towards the patient, and we got to move. So this is nice to just be able to like, hey, let's move. Boom, you got your carry strap, and you're able to move. A lot of med kits I've seen, not everything is, secured down, and then you're stuck like juggling a bunch of stuff.
That's good insights. Okay.
So yeah, so that's kind of nice. A lot of gauze. So this is kind of where we're getting into what I'm talking about, like the quantity. Over like this one probably, I haven't looked in this one, but this one probably has this stuff in it. This just has more of it. Okay. So now you're getting into like multiple victims or
multiple wounds on the same victim.
Yeah, multiple wounds on the same victim. You know, you have 4 limbs.
Yeah. Yep.
Burn shield. So a lot of burn dressing. As a firefighter, I can tell you that.
But again, you're going in, so you're continuing to illustrate this has just quantity because of the size of this bag. So it could be that you have to treat multiple burns or multiple burn victims.
And just standard Band-Aid packs. It looks like they've got kind of one of everything.
Okay.
Wound packing gauze. This is going to be, this is just compressed gauze. So you can never have too much gauze. I mean,
so again, I bet if we cranked open that other pack, it would probably have one of these maybe. Yeah. And I will roll in some footage later to show you the contents of these bags specifically as it's listed out on their website.
Cool, yeah. So glucose, this is actually pretty cool to see in a med kit. So this, if somebody's got diabetic emergencies, which we see all the time, we actually shared a couple stories about some diabetic scenes that we've actually seen. The only thing is you need to, before you give them glucose, you might need to find out if that's the problem, is their blood sugar's low. If they're having high blood sugar and you give them more glucose, that's obviously a problem.
Okay.
So having like a glucometer, if the person's diabetic, they probably have one. So this would be something that somebody's already diabetic, they know what the emergency is, and they're not mentally all there enough to take their own glucose. You could be like, hey, take this, you know.
Okay.
Then we have, what is this? Medication. So this is, this kind of seems like not a big deal, but it actually is. So you've got ibuprofen, aspirin, you've got a bunch of stuff in here, cold and flu meds. Those are going to be more comfort, motion sickness. Stuff like the motion sickness, what they're probably talking about is going to not make you throw up as much, which might be nice, and diarrhea, because if you're actually out, obviously having being dehydrated, and then if you're throwing up and stuff, that can
exacerbates the problem. Yep.
Aspirin is highly, highly underrated to have in your kit. If somebody's having chest pain, tell them to take some aspirin, because that can legitimately save their life immediately. And allergy relief, some type of something that helps somebody, like Benadryl would be one. Benadryl's obviously a brand. But if somebody gets stung by a bee, like what happened with you?
That's what I was telling you. I got stung at deer camp. I found not only, in fact, now that you said that, I did actually have an antihistamine in there also. Yeah. I wasn't having any trouble breathing or anything like that, but I know that can sometimes fast follow.
Absolutely.
And so, yep.
And so by the time the fire department gets there, their throat already may be closed up. But if they get stung, they're like, hey, I'm allergic to bees, I need my EpiPen or whatever. Hey, take this Benadryl right now, and while their throat's open, because that can also be a lifesaver. So kind of cool to see a mix of comfort and actual life-saving care, and you have 2 of these.
Cool.
So behind here, it looks like just some kind of survival stuff, like glow sticks, glow sticks, paracord.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I guess you need paracord all the time or whatever. These are super skin. So
for blisters on your feet. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of a comfort thing. That's not going to probably save your life, but it might be nice to have. Space blankets. So we talked about this trauma, going into shock. The stuff you were talking about, where the guy looked fine, but he was shivering and maybe kind of cold.
Yep.
This stuff can make a big difference in those situations. And one thing I recommend, and I never see any med kits do this, is have hand warmers or feet warmers. And when you throw a blanket over somebody and it's trapping their heat, you're only trapping the heat that they have. And if they don't have any heat, you're not really trapping anything. It helps a little bit, but if you can introduce heat into that situation and throw a hand warmer or something over their chest and actually introduce heat that's actually trapping in, you can make an even bigger difference.
I'm a hugger too. I'll just get in there and
hug. Just bear hug them. Moving on down, let's see what we've got here.
Slide these over there.
Yeah, so these look like energy packets.
Maybe for rehydration.
Rehydration, yeah. So if you are trapped out and you've got this thing and you're dehydrated and you're throwing up or whatever and you need to rehydrate, I mean, if you can keep something down. That's not necessarily immediately life-saving, but can make a little bit of a difference. So that's kind of cool. This is, okay, so splints and bandages, triangular bandages. There's really good YouTube videos on all the uses for this. You can make slings out of them. You can use them as dressings. You can use them a lot of stuff. This medical tape is really good. It will stick to itself, but it won't stick to your skin.
Yep, I've got a bunch of that in my other kit. Yeah, it's good stuff.
This always comes in handy. And you can use it like an ace bandage, or this is a finger splint, so that's kind of neat. Just keep it rolling. CPR shields, 2 of them. So I'm not probably going to do mouth-to-mouth CPR, but if you are, and it's like an actual loved one or something like that, that might be kind of.
So my dad told me stories. You know, my dad was a police officer back from the early 70s up until the early 2000s, and CPR was very common back then because they didn't necessarily have all the infectious diseases, you know, or at least they didn't know about them to that level. He had a guy throw up in his mouth one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not doing that.
Now these are cool. So these are cold packs. My wife actually replenishes these on Amazon. She uses them all the time for the kids because she has a medical kit in her vehicle also.
Yeah.
She'll be at the playground, the kids will fall and skin their knees, and oftentimes it doesn't really even need ice, but the kids feel it feels good.
It's a comfort.
Yeah.
Here we have an NPA, so compromised airway, something's in their throat, or mouth blocking their mouth. You can insert this into their nose. There's YouTube videos on how to do this, and we'll be doing our own training on this. But this is life-saving.
Cool.
And here's another one too. So you get 2 of them. It's got lubricating jelly in there. We actually use these a lot. The only thing is, this isn't here, but this is something that can harm somebody if you don't do it correctly. So these are contraindicated, which means you shouldn't use it if
you don't know how.
Skull fracture.
Oh.
So one thing I would suggest, if you are carrying one of these, look up the signs of a basilar skull fracture, which is going to be bruising behind the ear, or they call it raccoon eyes, 2 black eyes. Somebody got hit in the forehead and they got 2 black eyes, don't use it.
Interesting.
Yeah, just like I said, just make sure you have training on this stuff. Chest seals, pretty self-explanatory. You know, plug the hole. This is typically everybody uses Hyphen. This is like their own brand. I would probably, like, they're round. It just looks different. I'm not sure how they vent. I'd actually have to open one of these up and learn how to use it. But, you know, chest seals they can always, I ran a victim that got shot 14 times, and we were running out of chest seals. So we were actually using the packaging of the chest seal as a chest seal.
Wow. I have the Hyphen ones in my other kit. Yeah.
Hyphen is the way to go. They're awesome. And like stuff with the NPAs, you have this lubricating jelly. You could even open up one of these plastic bags and like kind of tear it open and make a flat surface and use the lubricating jelly all over
Just so it sticks.
And that's a chest seal right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So all this packaging, even the packaging could be used. So we got 2 pockets here. Just some tape, which is nice. Gloves, which is nice. Gloves can also be used as chest seals. Or sometimes I write notes on them. So if you've got like a glove and let's say you're doing something, like write down what's going on. If you've got a blood pressure cuff or something, write down their vitals, write what happened. You can hand that to the EMT when they get there. So wound closure, this is just like deep laceration. This is if you got a big cut. I'm not sure if these are like, probably not the ones. They used to give us ones that actually had spikes in them. They dug in.
And pull the skin closed?
Yeah, those weren't fun. But these kind of have adhesive strips, and you can kind of like a zip tie, like and close that wound. Again, you can only do it with a laceration that's so big. So that's neat. Probably not life-saving if it's big enough to where
what
you
are
can
these?
go, like, zip it. Should be liquid skin. So
okay.
super glue.
All right. So I actually had to we had a different kind that's in the house, and my wife, I was using my my Tourniquet and sharpening her knives, her kitchen, and literally the very next day she was washing the knife and sliced herself. I'm surprised the tendon didn't go, and I used liquid skin to put it all back together.
Yeah, I mean, it can come in handy. We don't really use this in an EMS setting.
Sure.
If it's bad enough to where we're going to need something like this, we're probably going to be using bigger bandages.
But me at deer camp, not a bad thing to have.
Yeah, exactly. Again, this is it's marketed to civilians, so so there's a bag of just stuff like this. So this is a pen light. Obviously, it's not working right now, so oh wait, it's because you need that. So pen light, this is pretty neat. Check if somebody's got a concussion. It's got a pupil gauge on here, so you can see if they're dilated or constricted. Somebody with you look at somebody and you're like, what's wrong with this person? They're not looking right. You can kind of use this as a gauge and shine it in their eyes. And if they have really tiny constricted pupils and they're kind of out of the brain, they're probably on drugs.
Okay.
Or dilated, or if like one pupil's like way bigger than the other one, that could be severe head trauma. So this is just kind of nice, especially if you got kids and they knocked their head really hard, and you shine the light in their eyes and their pupils move really slowly. Then maybe they have a concussion.
Rape whistle.
Rape whistle, just in case, because you never know.
I've had to use that twice at deer camp.
those bucks during the rut, man. Tweezers, cool for splinters, whatever. Probably not gonna save your life in any way. But
I'm telling you, if you have kids, that might be a lifesaver. So
Yeah.
again, at deer camp, my son, I took my son. It's funny because all this stuff happens at deer camp. I took my son, and everything at deer camp is wood. It's a log cabin, and he gets a splinter in his finger, and I swear he was screaming bloody murder while I was trying to get that thing out. But I didn't have tweezers. I had to cut it out with a knife.
So this is kind of cool. They have thermometer covers. So slide your thermometer in there just like you do at the doctor's office. If you had to use it on a stranger, I probably wouldn't use my personal thermometer on a stranger because knowing exactly what their temperature is isn't probably a life or death thing. If they're so hot to where they're not acting right, then all you need to know if they're too hot or too cold and make your adjustments. Overall, super good kit. A lot of, like I said, quantity. This would be great if you've got like a wife and kids and this is something you just wanted to keep in your car. But most of your actual immediate life-saving care is going to be in this section right here. So, I don't know. That's kind of my first impressions. Oh, and the splint. I forgot about this. This would be good if you got kids. I ran tons of at the YMCA. Right where we just were. There was a kid that playing basketball went up, fell, arm was bent the wrong way. I splinted it in place, wrapped it with an ace bandage with a kit they had at the YMCA, and these can actually come in handy. And it may not seem like life-saving, but if somebody's got a fracture up here, or even like a compound fracture, or in their femur, if that moves around too much, the bone can actually lacerate an artery or something, and that can become a life-threatening situation. So splint is pretty cool to see an actual pretty big splint in here.
Cool.
Yeah.
And now the fun part is putting it all back in the bag. All right. So David, any final thoughts? Anything that's I would say missing, or like, just give me some final thoughts.
Yeah. So if I were to talk to MyMedic and say how I would improve the kit, it would definitely be multiple tourniquets, because they do have multiple life-saving trauma stuff in there, like the wound packing gauze and the trauma stuff. They have got 3 or 4 in there, and there's only one tourniquet. Okay. And one tourniquet that's not really friendly to using with one hand, like the cat tourniquet is. And you have 4 limbs. And our protocol state that if there's severe bleeding and you put a tourniquet on and that doesn't stop the bleeding, you put a secondary tourniquet on. And if you've got 4 limbs and it's bad enough, and I've seen car wrecks even with one where you've got severe bleeding from multiple limbs, motorcycle wrecks, stuff like that. One rat tourniquet is just not going to do it. So in a kit that size, I would definitely recommend carrying extra tourniquets. Okay. But other than that, I really like the way it's packaged. I like the ease of just opening it up and seeing everything. If you were alone and injured and you told somebody to go grab my med kit, they would see a bright red MyMedic med kit that they could throw down the ground, open it up, and if you said, grab me my tourniquet, they would be like, oh, there it is. And seconds can make the big difference between life or death. Now they sell,
so let's say you did want to supplement it with more tourniquets. I believe they sell cat tourniquets on their website. So if you bought this and wanted to supplement it with one of those, add another $30 and buy it. They also have the rat tourniquets if you wanted to add a few more of those. I know that they're not your favorite, but it's better than nothing, certainly.
For sure.
Do you carry this in a civilian capacity, or do you carry something more than this? Like if I went out to your car right now, what am I going to find?
You're going to find...
Besides AR-15s and plate carriers.
You're going to find 3 or 4 kits like this.
Okay.
Like one in a backpack, one mounted to my gray man thing. You're going to find one in the trunk, and then one in my winter bag.
Okay.
So I'm looking at what's going to save my life right now. I don't necessarily carry anything for to take away stinging from a bee sting or anything like that.
Gotcha. So less comfort stuff. You're more about the life-saving stuff.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
And you obviously don't go to deer camp.
No, I've never been to deer camp. You got to take me out there one day. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we lost our deer camp. I think I told you this. Yeah. So for those of you who have seen footage on the channel, the guy who owns the property is taking it back for family hunting land. And in fact, I'm going tomorrow to start clearing out the cabins. So that kind of sucks. But maybe my body will appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you bring your med kits, because it may want one last final straw.
So it's a work day tomorrow. That is highly likely. We're going to put this all back together. I'm going to put it back in the truck. It will be there. Cool. All right. Now, On the note of medical training and stuff like that, you guys are going to be doing some stuff pretty soon.
Yes.
If you guys are local, we're in Georgia. If you're in the Georgia area, we're kind of north metro Atlanta, I guess I would say. Feel free to come join. How can they find out more?
So you can go to Dyer Armory and follow us on all the social media. We're going to be doing every Monday. We're going to be doing Medic Monday, which is we're going to open up a kit like this. We're going to take something out of it and go into detailed explanation on how to use each item. So if you're on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, especially YouTube, I can make a playlist of videos and you can look up like tourniquet. Obviously, these are videos to watch more than once, really get it in your head, because if you're bleeding out, the last thing you want to do is, wait a second, let me go on YouTube and figure out how to use this thing. We're also offering certified Stop the Bleed classes with a paramedic instructor through the department we both work for. He's a guy that I literally would trust with my life, and I've worked with him in a professional capacity, seen him save other people's lives with me assisting him. And he is top notch. And so with Stop the Bleed, you actually leave with a Stop the Bleed certification.
Okay.
So you get a little piece of paper that says, hey, I'm awesome and I know how to do stuff.
So we're coming up on the end of March 2022 right now. When do you think those classes, I know subject to change, right? But when do you think those might happen?
I'm hoping for May, beginning of May.
Okay. What's the best way for them to know? Would it be just following you on Instagram? Or
if you follow me, every Monday we're going to be talking about it, and we'll start booking classes.
All right, and one last thing before we go. Dyer Armory is actually going to sponsor an upcoming video. So tell us what you got.
So I've got RMA level 4 multi-curve 10x12 plates, a set of them.
A full set. So there's another one behind me over here.
Yep.
And we're going to be doing a giveaway of that. So he's going to have a review on your channel in the next couple weeks, months, something like that.
It's actually a body armor series.
Okay.
So we're covering, it's going to be 5 videos. We're covering plate selection, plate carrier selection, plate carrier setup, plate carrier operations, and then the 5th video, we're going to be shooting these bad boys with whatever they're rated for.
Okay.
And then we'll be doing a training class on plate carrier operations. It's basically a carbine class based off of your plate carrier. So reloads, being in uncomfortable positions, and really vetting your gear that you have.
Cool.
So.
And if timing works out, maybe I'll be part of that. We'll just have to see how it goes. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because this giveaway will happen here, but there will be a tie back to Dyer Armory in that. So I'm going to put a link in the description below to his YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to them so you can see that series. And again, it's just a way to thank them for this, this generous giveaway. Yep. All right, I know that was a lot of information, so let's wrap this up. This one is the MyFak Large, okay? And most of these come in a couple different flavors. This is the Pro version that has more of the kind of advanced trauma stuff that David was talking about, all right? I'll roll in a real quick video on the screen right here. Each of the product pages have a really cool interface. If you scroll about halfway down, you can filter by the different types of equipment, and you can see exactly what is in each of the kits, okay? So it kind of filters it out based on what you're asking about. So if it's, you know, medicine, for example, you can filter down on that and it'll show you exactly the medicines that are in the kit. And it also comes in several different colors. So we're going to be giving away one of their original, probably the most popular one they have. This is the MyFak. Now, I did a video on this years ago and I still have it. It sits in the saddlebags of my motorcycle, in fact. And it's a fantastic little kit. It's a reduced version of a lot of what you saw in there. So if you want to win this, all I need you to do is follow MyMedic on one of their social media outlets, okay? I'm going to post links in the description below to those, and then I need you to come back here to this YouTube video and tell me where you followed them, all right? If you are watching this on Facebook, you can comment on Facebook, and that's great, and I'll try to respond to you, but that doesn't enter you in the giveaway. You have to comment on the YouTube video, because I use this tool that kind of scrapes the comments and chooses a winner. And this is in the US only, all right? So if you're familiar with my channel, you will know I do a ton of giveaways, and I pay to ship everything myself. Sometimes some of these giveaways with multiple products end up costing me almost $100 to ship everything. And not only that, but I also don't want to deal with the paperwork of, you know, imports and all that stuff. So we're going to keep it simple, United States only. Forgot one of the most important parts. I had to get all the camera gear set back up to record this. The giveaway starts right now, okay? And I've got a couple giveaways and videos that are overlapping. So I'm gonna put across the bottom of the screen right here when this giveaway actually ends, all right? I'll draw one winner. I will notify you by responding to your comment in the comment section down below. And if you have a medical kit, like the one that I have in my motorcycle, keep tabs of the expiration dates, because a lot of stuff that's in there actually does have a shelf life, okay? So make sure that you're on top of it. There are a lot of things that's in my big truck one that are expired, and so this is going to replace that. And actually this one fits so nicely on the back of the seat on that that gray man gear thing. Now I don't have to have big bags sliding around in the back of the truck. So solve 2 problems. That's it, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below. Make sure you're subscribed. I do tons of giveaways on this channel. I've got lots more videos to come. I appreciate your time watching, and I'll see you in the next one.